Hello, this is Dr. Gary Castleberry, Professor of Media Production Communication at Mid-America Christian University, instructor for this course, our Capstone, Com 4803, and we're here with another video discussion. This video discussion is intended for week 3. It's a mid-course reflection response, and I want to tackle two important questions, or rather, charge you all with responding to these two prompts. They're not only ways for you to engage with content and materials that have that speak to you in the major, or perhaps for those visitors on occasion, your major, but it also gives us a chance to work through a process that, on one hand, gives you voice agency to speak to needs and desires that you encounter from the perspective of student, and then it also gives us a sounding board for ways we can continuously improve and enhance curriculum in the course. So, as you all know, we have a degree that runs on an accelerated track for online only students. And these courses are also frequently visited by on-ground, traditional or full semester students. And so there is this ebb and flow between the traditional approach to classroom design and learning, and then accelerated opportunities. And this is very much in a 21st century model. This is very much designed with meeting student needs first and foremost. And so we hope you're appreciating that practice however you're encountering our courses. And so typically what you may find is that in accelerated courses, students would have access to more readings than some of the full semester classes that may reduce down or refine down the number of required books that we work through, because there's so much more space for live project integration, small group collaboration and work, discussion, and even some of those on occasion sort of informative, hopefully ideally informative lecture style avenues. So we have different educational modules set up for these distinct learning environments, and best you can speak into these with the information you possess, and by information I mean the experiences you have from your coursework here. All right, so two prompts that you're responding to for this week 3 video discussion. First, because I mentioned that readings can vary from in-person versus online, right? So you maybe pick up more volume of reading if it's an online class, because we're working to help offset some of the seat time that gets aggregated in other ways. Here is question 1. What kind of readings would you like to encounter in courses that we offer? So based on the experiences you have, not only the kinds of, I'm not asking you to name works specifically that you've read from our classes. We do have a prompt coming soon that is going to give you some space to do that, but rather thinking about readings you've encountered, or maybe those you haven't, or if you're a transfer student, perhaps readings you had exposure to at an alternative college or university. We want to hear about this topic specifically, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to peel back the curtain. We understand societally, but generationally, folks are reading less. Now, despite that trend, and despite the fact that reading in certain contexts is going down. Now, on the other hand, there is data out there that we're reading more than ever. We're just reading these tinier bits. Like, we're spending more time. It's almost like reading People magazine over and over again with the kinds of reading that we're probably doing on social media. And there's other things like close reading, and I don't mean reading words on page, but close reading, as to say, evaluating things, reading visually, that we do all the time in various contexts. But in this instance, we're talking about traditional readings, okay? We are interested in knowing what kinds of readings would you like to encounter in the courses we offer. So maybe pick a course that you've had, or maybe a course you would want to see, and help paint a picture of what kinds of readings would motivate you to keep up that habit, at least as a student. So the studies show that the average American peaks in their reading practices in college. And so we don't have to either feel guilty about, or, well, maybe we can feel a little guilty about abandoning reading after college, but we also don't have to feel like um, it's some out of date practice to be tasked with reading something, or let alone close reading it for a presentation or whatnot. The fact of the matter is, we're meant to be pushed in ways that we're not regularly just simply independently pushing ourselves when we're in college. And so that's the boot camp of it. That's the grind. That's a great thing that we can embrace. But we want to continue to reach out. So help us identify some potential directions we could be looking for readings, because if anything, this program, our mission, we are all about seeking and locating and implementing materials, assignments, and projects and readings that will connect with students, that have a spark to them. We're not just sort of piecemealing, textbooks to gouge students. I think you all are very aware, in the COM program at least, we go after an anti-price gouging initiative with regards to when we select readings. But we're interested in student feedback. So what kind of readings would you like to encounter in courses that we offer? That's number one. Number two, let's shift gears here. We're 7 minutes into this prompt. Whoops. Let's shift gears though. And I want you to take this to heart. This is a really valuable question as well. So if in the previous question, we're looking specifically at the area of readings, and maybe something or an area or a subject matter or a topic that you didn't feel like that you want to see a better presence for, consider this. Question number two. So we're answering both prompts. We're not choosing between them. Pose a question to an answer that hasn't been addressed thus far in your degree coursework. Pose a question to an answer that hasn't been addressed thus far in your degree coursework. Right? So, in other words, what is a topic or area or something that you perhaps anticipate or are waiting to encounter, or simply we just don't talk about enough, that you would like to pose a question regarding as we're rounding the midpoint of the course here in our capstone experience. It's a great time for transparency. These questions could be academic in nature, or they could relate to the degree and how it points toward professional opportunities. I suspect from experience that's where some of these questions will head. What is a question to an answer that hasn't been addressed thus far in your degree coursework? We want to help answer that question for you this week in our week 3 video discussion here, COM 4803, the Media Production and Communication Capstone.